You say no in front of other people, and the room goes just a little too quiet. Maybe it is at dinner. Maybe it is on a work call. Maybe someone asks for one more favor, one more hour, one more small thing. You say, "No, I can't." And then you feel it. That tiny pause, that shift in the air. A couple of eyes stay on you half a second longer than usual. So you smile. You add something soft. "Sorry, it's just been a long week. I wish I could. Maybe another time." And right there, the moment changes. Because now, they are not hearing a clean boundary. They are hearing you take care of the discomfort after it. So they do not push hard. They laugh a little. They come back lighter. "Just for a minute." "Come on. It's not a big deal. Only this once." Softer words, smaller pressure, but the line is already weaker. And this is why your no starts sounding like a maybe. Not because you said the wrong word, because the second the room got tight, you rushed in to make everyone feel okay. You thought you were being kind. You thought you were keeping things smooth. You thought you were protecting the relationship. But what they felt was not finality. They felt room. And once people hear room after your boundary, they stop treating your first answer like the answer. They start treating it like the beginning of a conversation. The no does not lose weight when you say it. It loses weight when you try to help everyone feel okay about it. That is the moment most people miss, because the first often lands. For a second, it is clear. Then the room goes a little still, not hostile, not dramatic, just long enough for you to feel like you created friction. Someone looks down. Someone gives that quick half smile. The person who asked goes quiet just a little too neatly. And now you feel responsible for the tension. So you step in. You smile. You soften your tone. You add something extra. "I just have a lot going on. It's nothing personal. I'd help if I could." That extra line feels polite, but it changes the meaning of the boundary, because now the no is no longer standing on its own. Now it is being carried by your need to keep the moment warm. And people feel that fast. Not consciously, maybe. But they feel the line open. So they do not challenge you directly. They come back smaller. "Yeah, of course." Then, "Only for a minute? What about later? Could you at least look at it?" That is the shift. They are not pushing through a wall. They are following the opening you created after the wall should have closed. And that is why this pattern is so easy to miss. The pressure does not start with their force. It starts with your repair. What they heard was not just kindness. They heard instability. That is the mechanism. A clean no says, the answer is settled. A repaired no says, the answer exists, but the emotion around it is still moving. And people know how to move inside that. Picture it on a work call. Someone asks, "Can you take this on?" You say, "No, I can't this week." That should close it. But then you add, "I'm slammed right now. I feel bad. Maybe if things calm down." Listen to what happens next. They do not argue. They adjust. Totally get it. What about just the first part? Could you at least jump in for 10 minutes? Why? Because they are no longer responding to the boundary. They are responding to the space after it. That is what your repair gave them. Not permission in words, permission in feeling. The answer no longer sounds final. It sounds adjustable, not cruel, not intentionally weak, just unfinished. And once you're no longer unfinished, people stop feeling like they are crossing a line. They feel like they are helping you get to the version of the answer you are more comfortable with. That is why this becomes dangerous so fast. You think you are being polite. They heard negotiation. You thought you closed the door gently. They heard your hand still on the handle. And this is why you keep doing it. It is not because you do not mean your no. It is because you feel the discomfort faster than you feel the boundary. The moment gets quiet, and your body reads that silence like danger, not real danger, social danger. The fear that you look cold, the fear that people will think you are difficult, the fear that the energy in the room will change because of you. So instead of holding the line, you start managing the feeling around it. That is the habit. At the table, someone says, "Wow, okay," with that little laugh. Nothing brutal, nothing openly disrespectful, but you feel the sting in it. So you rush to smooth it out. No, it's not like that. I just have a lot on my plate. I'd do it if I could. Now you are no longer protecting the boundary. You are protecting their impression of you. And that is why this keeps happening to people who are actually kind. You are not trying to reopen the door. You are trying to avoid looking harsh while you close it. But people can feel that split. They can feel when your words say no, but your energy is still asking, "Are we okay?" That is the real problem. Because once your boundary starts asking for approval, it no longer sounds like a decision. It sounds like something waiting to be revised. And this is where the real loss starts. Not in one moment, in the pattern that forms after it. Because people remember where your first no usually goes. They learn it is rarely final. They learn the room only has to get a little tight, and you will start doing the work for them. So next time, they do not even treat your answer like a wall. They treat it like stage 1. First ask, then your no, then the pause, then your smile, then the softer re-entry. And eventually, they stop respecting the first boundary before you even finish saying it. This is where you become the person people ask twice. Not because you are available, because your no has a history of opening again. You see it in small ways first. They ask in public because public pressure helps. They joke when they come back because joking lowers the cost. They make the second ask smaller because smaller sounds easier to surrender to. Not the whole thing, just a little. Not tonight, just later. You don't have to stay long, and if you give even a little, the lesson gets locked in. Now they know your first answer is not your position. It is your starting point. That is the escalation people miss. The disrespect is not always loud. Sometimes it sounds polite. Sometimes it even sounds understanding. But underneath it, your boundary is no longer being received as a decision. It is being managed like a process. And once that happens over time, you start losing something bigger than one moment. You lose finality. People stop adjusting to your line. They start waiting for the part where you adjust it yourself. So the correction is smaller than people think. It is not becoming colder. It is not making your no harder or more aggressive. It is this: stop repairing the room the second you set the boundary. Say no, then let it land. That quiet beat after, leave it alone. If they look disappointed, let them be disappointed. If the room feels awkward for a second, let it feel awkward. If someone gives that little laugh or that surprised look, do not rush in to clean it up. That is the test, not the first ask, the silence after your answer, because that is the moment you usually lose the boundary. So next time, keep it simple. No, I can't. Then stop. If they come back softer, do not get softer with them. Just stay in the same place. No, I'm not available. Or, no, that still doesn't work for me. No smile to undo it. No extra story. No emotional cushioning. No trying to prove you are still a good person while saying no. Let your tone stay calm. Let your body stay still. Let them feel that the answer has already finished. That is what gives a boundary weight. Not volume, not attitude, finality. The moment you stop helping people around your no starts sounding complete again. A weak no is rarely weak at the beginning. It becomes weak in the seconds after, in the smile, in the softener, in the extra line that tells people the answer is still trying to stay liked. That is the hard truth. Most people do not keep pushing because they are confused. They keep pushing because they have felt your boundary reopen before. So the real change is not better wording. It is this. Can you survive that small moment of tension without buying comfort with access? Can you let the pause stay there? Can you let other people feel your answer without rescuing them from it? Because a real no does not need emotional cleanup. And the moment you stop repairing the discomfort around your boundary, something changes. People stop listening for your softer second version. They start hearing the first one as final. That is when your no stops sounding like a maybe. It starts sounding like the end.